and their mum seems to be doing Hyrox right now. I don't know if it's just me, but if I scroll through my social media feed, all I see is people competing in Hyrox, training for Hyrox, and setting goals for Hyrox. I did Hyrox way before it became popular. I know, such a hipster, I did it before it was cool. But to be fair, it was always cool. I just did it when it first launched, and I did a Hyrox Pro and absolutely loved it. And I hope to do another one, but that might not be possible. There has been a bit of outrage and controversy surrounding Hyrox. The tickets went live for Hyrox Birmingham, and within 15 minutes they were all sold out. And this was because 75% of the tickets went to Hyrox affiliates, and then the remaining 25% were sold to people that were waiting online. This meant most non-affiliates didn't really get a look in. This is so good for Hyrox because it is such an incredible event, and it definitely deserves the popularity that it's receiving. But I'm not sure I agree with giving 75% of the tickets to affiliates only. If you go on the Hyrox map in my area, there aren't any Hyrox affiliates at all. So even if I wanted to join a Hyrox affiliate, I wouldn't be able to. But I have competed in one and definitely want to compete in one after I've given birth, because I'm currently pregnant if you missed that. Hyrox does seem to be taking over the functional fitness space and even potentially passing CrossFit. This Reddit thread got me interested because CrossFit competitions definitely don't sell out in the same way that Hyrox does. This Reddit user asked what CrossFit events could learn from this. Hyrox competitions are only 2 hours long, and while you can't choose your slot, you are literally given a slot during the day, it means that you're only there for 2 hours. Whereas in a CrossFit competition, you're there for the whole day or more. There are 2-day and 3-day competitions. This commenter said, in my country, most CrossFit events are weekend long, and that's a huge deterrent to many people who like the sport. Like competing but can't be asked to spend their whole weekend on the bleachers combined with a 30-40 minutes of action. So basically they're saying that when you're competing in a CrossFit competition, you don't actually spend that much time on the floor despite being there for the whole day. You basically just have to sit around and watch waiting for your heat to come around, and when you go on, the workouts are only 10 to 15 minutes. And in the 7 years that I've done CrossFit, I have done a lot of CrossFit competitions, and this is definitely true. It is a little bit disheartening the amount of time that you don't spend on the floor in comparison to the time you spend waiting. This is one of the huge selling points of Hyrox, that you only have to give 2 hours of your time. Especially for me going into motherhood, it will be hard to sacrifice a whole day, but 2 hours is definitely doable. And I can see that would be the case for a lot of parents. Accessibility definitely plays a big part. Hyrox targets a larger audience, including hybrid athletes and people that are generally into functional fitness. It makes it accessible to people that do CrossFit and that don't do CrossFit, and to people that are kind of interested in the CrossFit style of training but don't want to do Olympic lifting, complex gymnastics, or do any of the random movements that CrossFit throws in. This commenter said, Hyrox is far more accessible than CrossFit in terms of exercise. The movements are the same in every event. There are no high skill movement capabilities required. There aren't strict movement standards like in CrossFit. All of these things make it less intimidating and open for anyone to participate. It's not something I'm interested in personally, but it's like asking why does a half marathon race sell out so quickly in comparison to a CrossFit event. Hyrox isn't comparable to CrossFit in terms of what your body needs to be able to do across skill, mobility and strength, etc. This commenter seemed to be a little bit annoyed that it was being compared, but CrossFit and Hyrox are within the same sphere of fitness. They are both definitely functional fitness. Hyrox just contains more running, and Hyrox is definitely a lot lower skill and you don't need as much strength to do it, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Some people just don't want to train for that level of skill and strength, or they don't want to train across so many broad domains. In Hyrox, you know exactly what's going to come up, you know how to train for it, and you can do that year in, year out. It's like not understanding why somebody would want to run a marathon or a 5k because the movements stay the same. That doesn't really make sense. Of course people still enjoy it. Like, why do people do triathlons year in, year out? Because they're fun. And yeah, maybe the movements stay the same, but that's like part of it. It's still super interesting even though triathlon is only 3 movements. So I don't think that is really a fair criticism of the sport. Obviously some CrossFitters that are used to doing a lot of different stuff might find that boring, but I personally don't. And he did say that they don't have the strict movement standards, but they definitely do have judges. I was judged while I was at Hyrox. There was somebody following me around, or at least in each segment. I couldn't really keep track, but I remember on the burpees, I think I've got a video clip, you can see there is a woman there watching me and she was also cheering me on. And they do hold you to movement standards, but the movement standards aren't that easy to cheat. Like there isn't really a way that you can cheat a lot of the movements. Like you're not going to not touch your chest to ground on the burpee. And I guess they just watch to make sure you don't walk forward before you jump. I will take the criticism on the wall balls though. They definitely didn't seem as hard as CrossFit are on the depth part of the wall ball, which can make a massive difference, but we don't know how that's going to evolve. I think the commenter was suggesting that it was a bad thing that it doesn't have to be as high a skill as CrossFit, but some people just don't have the time to dedicate to learning an entire sport like CrossFit, and that is okay. I think local CrossFit competitions could actually learn from the format of this event with the 2-hour window, and I've actually done a local CrossFit competition that was over 2 hours. It was a series of 4 different segments and you moved through them within the 2 hours and you had a couple of minutes rest between each station, and it was totally doable and it got out of the way really quickly, and it made it really accessible to those people that can't dedicate a whole day, and it also meant you didn't have to sit there and watch the whole thing. But I don't think it's going to sell out on the scale of Hyrox because Hyrox is just better marketed and it's just this format that is going to stay. And then I found this video which is really interesting, and hopefully it will solve the problem of all of the tickets being sold out super quickly.
Where do you see it in 5 years?
We'll operate 150 to 170 events in the 150, 170 biggest, most important cities in the world. We will have some events that will have almost the size of marathon events.
Wow.
So 20, 30,000 people active racing. And these events are in all relevant markets of the world. And I think we believe we will have probably around 1 million people doing the competitions every year. But we believe that the people training Hyrox style, that group of people will be significantly bigger.
It sounds like Hyrox have some massive plans to expand way past where they are right now and beyond the scale of CrossFit, which is so cool. Hopefully with this expansion there'll be more tickets available. So hopefully post-birth I'll be able to sign up for one and actually get a ticket. I think they could change giving 75% to affiliates. Maybe like 40 or 50% would be okay, but 75% is way too much. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Do you think Hyrox tests the fittest on earth in a better way than CrossFit? Well, some videos and articles have been claiming that Hunter McIntyre, who is the world champion of Hyrox, is actually the fittest on earth. If you're interested in hearing more about that, then watch this video next. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!